Good to see you.
Yeah.
Patrick, can we talk later?
Hi, Mom.
We're having a sweat coming in.
It's been running around.
There's no sweat.
I see.
Not a problem at all. Are you rounded up tomorrow?
Me, yeah.
We are live.
I just want to show you something.
Okay.
Hi, how are you?
When I turn the video magnifier on.
That's always a good idea.
Well, it's in the man or something. It's core, it's subconsciously core.
Is that? I should have figured it was something mental with me.
Yeah, right.
Patrick, thank you for helping me find my way with this.
That's what I'm here for, so I always got harder.
We're live, Jim.
Huh?
We're live, just to let you know.
Don't use that language.
Why would you think eliminate?
I just. Okay, good.
That's actually very fun.
A little bit more.
What's up? Hello, Jim. Hey, Jane.
Hey, Jim.
Eric, how are you? I know I can't use any more of those scores lately since you. I wasn't doing it right now all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I don't have always 10. It always comes out along just 10.
Guys, I'm passing out a set of financials, a little bit different. Just don't try to read it until I explain it. I mean, you can read A, but you're not gonna figure it out.
That's probably what I looked at.
If anybody can figure it out, they get an A. You don't read it, you know,
I do not need to. It comes on, but then I'm sure it's more than
Yeah, but that's two sections there, I guess. I will when we get to the treasurer's report.
Okay.
Who's got the official clock?
It's,
I've got to wait till it's done.
here's someplace. 6:58.
We have a standing or a sitting room only crowd here tonight.
Sure you don't
Back in a
have
minute.
shoot all night one in the front row before everybody, you know. Rushes in and you can't see over their head.
Well, that's true.
Eric, did you check to see how many views we had last month?
It's gone down each month. The first one was like 250 right now, and the last one was at 114 for the last meeting.
Okay.
So, but I watched it 50 times. So,
Thank you.
But that's more people than we ever would have had here, except on certain selected nights, which I don't know.
yes.
You need to do a stunt. I mean, it's not a rating stunt or something.
How are we gonna cure that, Pat? You and I are the only ones that ever had to worry about that.
Stunts?
How do we cure that? Suppose they don't church or something or what?
Well, we don't scare them away.
Oh, we got it on.
That's what happened. That's what
Oh.
happened.
Thank you.
Well, she's just here to make sure Eric doesn't get in trouble.
I got set up.
On your 100-some views,
Yeah.
any idea how long they stay on?
You know, there's a way to look at that, and I can check into it. It's normally, I think the average is around 15, 20 minutes. You're not watching the whole thing, but
Probably just watching when you're talking.
yes.
That's what.
That's,
You've given your motive. All right. All right, it's time, so I'm gonna call the June 20th, 2017 meeting of the Hideaway Hills Board of Trustees to order and let the record show that all board members are in attendance except Dale Young, who's been excused. And now I would ask if we can have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Ginger, motion by Ginger, second
Second.
by Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is adopted. Okay, in terms of a president's report, if you have looked at the agenda, you'll see down low on the agenda is the replacement or the resignation of a board member. And in the absence of proclamations from Hideaway Hills, which we don't do that to my knowledge, I would like to thank Patrick and Carter Floyd for making Hideaway Hills a better place, a more beautiful place a more environmental friendly place. And thank you, and Carter, so much for all your years of service, okay? We will miss you.
Now the ratings are up.
No. There you go, that was a stunt. Okay.
Tune in next week to find out who's resigning then.
Last Thursday, we had a meeting committee chairs. Many of you were there. The main purpose of the meeting was to say thank you to the chairs, because while volunteers do all the work, somebody's got to provide the leadership and the direction and get it done. And we covered a few topics, regular routine topics, monthly reports, planning long-term, and then the monthly calendar. So, but the meeting, from my perspective, I thought it went very well. So those of you who are here can comment if you like. Over the last 2 months, we've had several dog incidents. A lot of times just dogs chasing people who are walking or running. We had 2 that were more serious. Elderly gentleman who the dog was biting on his leg, fell, and ended up going to the emergency room because of the fall. The bite was not serious, but the fall, and he had to go to the ER. And then over the weekend, I think it was, a dog was out on the member's property. The neighbor's dog came over, bit the member's first member's dog, let's say, and had a puncture wound. And we've got rules. You're supposed to keep your dog under control, not necessarily on a leash. Some people say they should be on a leash. Well, a lot of people have electronic collars, electronic fences, that sort of thing. That's okay. But if you got a dog, you got to keep it under control. And Linda, in emailing those things out, made a good suggestion that we get something in the ECHO to remind people, not just once, but a couple of months in a row. And also, I'll come up with an e-blast, we might send out a couple of times and just say, hey, in a positive way, to say, people, control your dogs, especially on the terms of running.
Can I ask a question? Sure. For an incident like that, what happens?
Well, there's fine levels. If it's the first occurrence and it's not serious, let's say you know who the dog's owner is, and they chase somebody down the road, Randy would probably give them a $25 fine. If it's a second occurrence, it's $50, or if it's the first occurrence and more serious, and one of the ones we mentioned got a $50 fine. I don't know that we could pass a rule making that a specific fine level, but then, I don't know, rules are bad.
I wasn't suggesting, go ahead, Jim.
Well, I was just gonna, for the benefit of you that may not have been around, we had a bad incident several years ago, probably about the first year I was on the board this time, where the second time it happened, you may remember this, Ginger, the dog viciously attacked somebody, and then it happened again, Randy, finding it happened again. We Article 9 him, and he had to get rid of the dog. We forced him to. So it can happen if you got a dog that's causing trouble more than once, depending on the trouble. We can demand that you remove your dog from the premises as a dangerous animal. So it can happen. It just depends on the seriousness of it.
Will we do something in this instance?
In the instance of the gentleman who went to the hospital, he has talked to the dog owner is paying the fine, and he said we should do nothing more in his particular instance. Not only paying the fine, he's paying for his prescription, and they seem that he requested nothing more regarding his. I talked to him personally.
And I'm not trying to be accusatory.
No, that's not fair.
So in the second instance, where a dog attacked another dog,
I don't know that one's been handled.
Yeah, and it hasn't. I was just sort of waiting to see how the discussion went tonight before I did anything. Typically, it's a first offense. Basically, it'd be a $25 fine. Now, with an injury, as it was, it may be a $50 fine.
is this an instance where this dog belonged to a member, or was it, I thought possibly somebody who was a renter?
It's a
Tenant.
Tenant. So who gets
It's
the
the son.
fine?
It's the son of the member.
who gets the fine then? The
The
owner?
member does.
The member does.
Oh, yeah, sure, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And, the only thing I'd say to the board, is this, it's so important that if something does happen, that we follow through. Because I've seen instances where they come to the meeting on 2 instances involving dogs, not biting, barking. Nonetheless, it involved dogs. And we said, oh, you came, and we rescinded the fine. And I just think that pulls the rug out from underneath our security and our general manager. There's a lot of paperwork involved in these incident reports, and somebody's going up there and there's a lot going on. I would just leave it with the board that I really hope that we will stand tall, and if there is a fine, hold that fine. And I understand, so somebody comes in there, a friend there, a neighbor, and that's hard for us here because we all want to be friends of people, and it's hard. But I think it's so important that when there is a fine, the security has been involved with, and the general manager's been involved with, that we follow through.
I have a thought that I'd like to add to that, and I understand what you're saying, Patrick. I've given this some thought, actually, specifically. And my thinking is this. I think we rise to a different level when we have a dog who leaves our property and attacks another dog. To me, that's much different than nuisance barking. We have a different level when we have a dog attack a person than nuisance barking, especially if there are extenuating circumstances. I understand what you're saying about we should be cognizant of the fact that, management has taken the time and made the effort to fill out all the paperwork and do that. But I get really uncomfortable when a dog leaves the property, attacks another dog, or attacks a person. To me, that's a different level than barking and being a pain in the neck.
Well, and maybe my comment was more of an umbrella comment. If it's some knucklehead on the lake who acts like a buffoon and chews out a security guy or anywhere, I just think that undermines our staff people. And I just hope that the board, because we have a really great board, we have a strong board. I just hope we'll continue to stand tall and not allow that, because I think that just pulls the rug out from underneath security. And that I know is not our intention. I know that.
Linda, if you want to pursue that discussion, we can do it under additional business in terms of where you might want to go.
Okay.
Or we can postpone it for now. I would say in the last instance, probably double check with the member and see how bad his dog was hurt.
I did.
We did, okay. But now that's it, the other side. Randy is, on those incidents, when you see an incident report, you get an email, Randy follows up on those. I guarantee it, because every time I call him and ask, stop. All right, last thing I'm going to mention, Paul Heimberger gave me this, actually gave it to me a couple months ago. It's from Buckeye Lake. Buckeye Lake put this out. And they say, let's talk about Canadian geese. And we can correct Buckeye Lake, it's Canada geese, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Anyway, but the people in Buckeye Lake are saying, residential geese stay with us all year around and create quite a mess on our beaches. And they go on to say, we're no longer able to walk to the picnic tables in the park without stepping in goose poop. Water quality in the lake is negatively impacted by excess phosphorus created by the Canada geese species. Here's one I love. It's estimated that an adult goose can produce the equivalent of 50 pounds of fertilizer per year. All right, and they're saying their beaches are no longer usable due to the excess Canada geese. Now, oddly enough, they don't have any solutions. They are asking members not to feed them. I don't know that that's a problem here, is it, Paul? I'll ask you that. Are people feeding them?
Yes, there is a few that are.
Okay, all right, then I'll mention that. I am going to rewrite this. I'll give credit to Buckeye Lake for the idea, but I'll rewrite it and get it sent to Ginger for the Echo, and then include the warning about feeding them. But they're talking to ODNR about what to do. They don't say anything. I don't think they've got a program like we do.
They do a nuisance permit once a year.
Do they use shotguns like you did?
Yes, they're shooting. I was just told think it's like 300 to 400. They have a season just for that, 300 to 400 in a couple days.
But anyway, as these babies get mature and the geese can fly again, Paul's gonna be out doing his program, so that's a good timing to get this out to the members. And,
Greg, do we have a nuisance permit for geese now?
yes.
Okay, so we should
12
year round.
months, yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
but we can only take 30 geese a year.
30 geese a year.
During nuisance. We can take more during season.
Well, yeah, we can ask for more,
No,
but that's what we're.
that's not what Paul's saying.
No,
No, that's what they said, we can take 30 geese per year.
on nuisance.
Yeah.
But we can take more during regular season.
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
right.
Yes.
All right, well, we encourage you to do that. Thank you, Paul, for that. All right, moving on. Correspondence, Secretary, do you have any correspondence to read? No? Okay. And you all have a copy of the minutes in front of you, the minutes of May 16th, 2017. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted? So moved. Dave Miller made the motion, who will second?
A second.
Eric Lapp is seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Ginger, to the treasurer's report.
The balance in the Benton County Bank for all of the committees is $69,261.47. And a side note, the committees for the month of May took in $28,485.52. Now, they paid out monies too, but that's how much money was taken in on all their different activities. Over $28,000. And actually only 13,000 went out, so
Although, all of that will eventually probably go out.
it's 4 different activities, so yes.
Sooner or
yes.
later it's going out, but still, it shows the activity of the committees.
And then you're going to talk to us about the
Yeah, before we
strange
ask
report you gave us.
for Jennifer.
Oh,
for
we
Ginger.
probably should approve this.
Okay, you
And
want
how
to approve that
to
part?
pass it. I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Ginger Reed has made a motion to approve the treasurer's report, second by Tom Matthews. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. This is the short form report, as I call it, or the Jim Lloyd report. This is like a read financial. If you look at this year-to-date, at the top, net profit and loss, the change says that we're above last year by 151,000. And I just don't want the board to get misled by the way the accounting goes. And so I did a little playing with Excel spreadsheets, and I did send this to Jim Sickabooth, and he's generally okay with it. But what you've got here on the first sheet that I passed out, the left side is exactly what is on the financial reports. Anything in red, I took out of the right side columns. So you've got the left side is copied, is the May, and then less dam and food services. I took out dam because, well, mainly if you go down, there's 191,000 in dam assessment revenue, and that really skews the report, okay? And I took out food because food is in so many categories as you're going down. You'll see on the expense side, it makes it hard to look at the report and see what's happening. So basically, all you see there on the first page is the revenue, less any revenue associated with the dam, any revenue associated with clubhouse or restaurant, okay, including payroll on there. And you've got a separate P&L on clubhouse and lodge anyway, if you want to look at it. Then go to the expense side, and I did this very same thing. You know, for example, the interest expense, we're getting that because we've got money that we haven't yet paid, that we've collected on the dam, haven't paid it, just collecting interest. That's really not a fair comparison in terms of looking at how our operating expenses are going. That's why our financials are complex this way, and it's kind of hard to know it. Down at the bottom, you see I pulled out all the food expenses. So if you go all the way to the bottom line, before restaurant and lodge, we are down $22,000 to last year. Now, we're not in terrible shape. We still have a net profit of $63,000. But if somebody says, how are you doing? We're not doing quite as good as last year. And then because of Jim Sickabooth said he didn't think it was really fair to show it without the lodge and the clubhouse, So I added just the total revenue expense for lodge and clubhouse, and then because both of those are down to last year, in effect, we're down $33,000 to last year. Nothing to get paranoid about. The places where I've got question marks, Randy's already answered a couple. I am gonna make sure I understand each one of those, if anything's significant. They're all routine things. For example, the big one in insurance is because we do a self-insure. Part of our insurance is self-insured. And if you have claims, we gotta pay them out. There was a hospital claim on one of those, and then some other minor ones. So, but I'll ask one question now, Randy. Can you guess, maybe not fair to you, but why, if assessments are generally up, why chip and seal is down?
Don't think I can answer that.
All right, that's one, you know.
I don't know.
So, but those are the kind of, other than that, professional fees, we know what they are. They're 2 LMN and the attorneys. I'd like to know which is which in supplies. You know, if Randy can give a sense of why are we over on supplies. And that supplies, it might be, we already bought them, we're gonna use them, and they'll go down in coming months. So that's, I just wanted to give you maybe a better look at where we are financially. I'm not gonna do this every month, but next month probably do it because it's 6 months and we'll know half the budget's in and we'll see where we're going.
And we've had a significant amount of deferred maintenance this year. There's several of these things, it's just because, you know, we kept kicking the can down the road because we had all the other costs related to the dam, and we were trying to be very, very conservative. But there's just been a fair number of these that we can point out that we're clearly deferred maintenance.
And I may not have pulled out all the damn expenses because in that professional, part of that is 2 LMN, which it's gotta be, which is part of the dam. But that's, again, you really gotta go through it before you can understand it, so. Any questions? All right. That doesn't need approval, that's just something from me. We'll now move on to Mr. Krieger, management report.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and start first with where we're at with the Lake of Four Seasons and with the dam investigation. Since the last time we met, ODNR came out and visited with us. They reviewed all of our dams. We spent most of the day with them and along with our engineer for 2 LMN. We expect an official report from them somewhere around Thanksgiving. And that's actually a good thing because literally they found just a few small things that they asked us to fix up in the big dam in particular. And many of those have finished already. There's some erosion aspects where where the grass didn't seed itself yet, or there was not significant enough. And on top of the crest of the dam, there's some holes. They want to see that 100% filled in with grass. We'll keep working on that. Whether we have to reseed some of those areas or not, we'll deal with it. But the good news is that we have been approved. They will be back in 5 years. We'll get a report we'll get, like I said, a report probably sometime around Thanksgiving, but we won't see them for 5 years. The other dams we took a look at with some discussion with Eagle Claw, because Eagle Claw, they've changed basically the calculations for major storms, and so we may have to do something additional, but we have some ideas on how to deal with that. Nothing pressing immediately, but they'll get back to us. Right now, it's a Class 2 dam. A Class 2 dam, you have to retain 50% of the probable maximal flood, and the calculations in the current dam are probably a little less than 50%. But there's a couple that seem to be fairly simple economical decisions that we can make, and we'll be able to deal with that. So I'm not losing any sleep over that one at all. The other dams were just fine and dandy. So that's good.
Were there any issues with the sinkhole with ODNR?
Not per se. They want us to keep monitoring where it is, and because we do, and that's one of the things we need to do is look at it. The sinkhole is not in the dam. It goes around what's called the groin in the dam, because it's down on the end and then it passes out and passes down into that stream that's down, and it's been doing that for years and years. And so it sort of has reached a steady state. As long as there's no change in that, then we know what to behave. If there suddenly would be an issue, then you had to change, then you have to worry about it. So it was a very pleasant experience with them. again, they had three gentlemen that came, and we spent the day, and then they were quite impressed with the quality of the dam, quality of the project, and how our maintenance does in terms of maintaining and keeping things up to speed. So that was really quite good. In terms of the things that are going to happen on the dam in the near future, we've ordered the new lights. We're waiting for them to come in. We have an idea of exactly how we're going to place them. There'll be 6 new lights. The electric is already up there. We'll just have to connect each of the lights in when it comes. The original estimate of when the product would come in is at the end of June. So we'll stay tuned. You'll see it up there, and once they come, it'll probably be a pretty quick process because you just anchor them onto the concrete pads and away you go. So we're looking forward to that. We just Paul just showed me a picture that maintenance put a sort of a block or a gate up on top of the dam, so it'll keep people from being able to drive across the top of the dam. That's one thing we really don't want to encourage, because you don't want ruts up there. You really need the grass to come in and be stable. That's one of the big issues of the earthen dam. You have to maintain the grassy level. The lake as of today is right at full pool. It was lapping up and over. I actually took a drive around there, and we're right at 816.5. So we're in good shape. 815.6. I'm sorry, I transposed it. So we're in good shape with that. I think the north end looks good. I've seen people that transition to that. We've opened up North Park. Maintenance got in there and cut the grass, put some barriers up. Again, encourage people. If you see anybody who's parking or driving through the grass up there, we've got to get 70% coverage of the grass up there. We had one low area where water was collecting, and maintenance went up and trenched it out, so we think that problem has also been resolved. So I think I wasn't here this weekend, but the weekend before, there were a number of people who were all there and seemed to be enjoying North Park, fishing and setting out canoes. One family was actually swimming off of the shore, which I was surprised, but that's what they were doing. So that's coming along quite well. We are very close. We don't have an actual scheduled day for the new safety bollards, the barriers that are going to be on top of the spillway. We're anticipating those to be installed either this week or fairly soon. Again, it's been ordered. This has been, one of our members has made a very gracious donation and is going to be doing that for us free of charge. So we're really pleased with that, and that should happen. Then once that's done, we'll make the decision exactly what we're going to do in terms of parking up there, how safe we feel it is. Again, encourage everybody. We're getting a fair number of complaints. All along in maintenance, we view this summer as being a workout. We were going to wait to see what the dam looked like, what the shelter house looked like, how the water was flowing, and all these issues in terms of deciding what we want to do. We did take the baseball diamond out. I'll be honest with you, to me, I had no problems with that, and I was a long-term baseball player, and I was the commissioner of baseball in Upper Arlington for over 10 years, and that wasn't a good baseball diamond. There's some other places we could put a diamond in, and if people want to do it, we can look into that. If Activity Youth wants to talk for that, or we can do it. There's certainly places we can do it, but we took that out. That's probably going to be a parking area. We haven't decided that yet. We're still working on all these issues. We have a place, there's too many trailers down there. We're going to talk at management next week about what we're going to do with that, because it is, I don't personally, I'm speaking for myself now because we haven't really met on it. When you come around the corner and see all those trailers, I think we could do something different there. But again, give us a little time. I'd ask for a little patience. Right now, we're still in the 3rd week of June, folks, and we just got the dam up and the water up about a month ago or 6 weeks ago. So give us a little time to think about it and work it and discuss it out, and we'll come back on that. That's it. Does anybody have any questions? That's the summary of my comments. I have one more topic to go to, but
There was talk about putting a asphalt path in front of the docks. Is that?
I don't know who's talking about that.
We brought it up last week.
Okay. I don't. Again, from my own perspective, I don't. Anything we have to do, we have to go back to the DNR. They may buy it, they may not. I think there's some issues why you might want it. But then if you got it, then it becomes a path for people to drive up and down. So I think, we're not making any plans yet. We'll have to, if we go that route, it'll be that. Oh, the other thing we have looked into also is having a handicap lift probably on the club dock there. So if somebody has somebody who can't walk out, and there's ways that we can get that accomplished. It's a matter of, those things are pretty well established. I'm getting someone I've talked to who knows about that is gonna look into it for us as well. So we're gonna do that. And I think you guys did you talk about it last week?
Yeah,
a little bit.
So we'll come up with that. And again, providing handicap parking on top of the dam. How many? I mean, if we open it up to parking and we suddenly have 60 golf carts and stuff up there, then that probably isn't going to work. So we'll have to figure out exactly what we want to do. But I promise you, we will discuss it openly and thoroughly before we make any steps.
Jim, I had a question on the trailers. Where should people be keeping their trailers right now?
On their own property, I know. That's a really good question. Because
Well, I mean,
never had
we've always kept them over at the airstrip, and there was never any question about it. Now, I know there was some up and down because I think we're trying to get junk.
Right.
I mean, there's some long-term, as in 20 years worth of stuff over there. And I know that maintenance and Randy were trying to get stuff out of there. Maybe it was easier to clear, but it kind of became a little bit of a feeding frenzy where a couple people put the trailers over there, and I know I put my trailer over there because I thought, I guess that's where we're putting the trailers.
At the ballpark.
Yeah, in the ballpark versus over at the airstrip. And I think the members aren't sure where they're supposed to put their trailers.
Can I?
Well, I mean,
We talked about this last week. We are looking into that right now. We want to clean up the boneyard again.
Yeah.
And we know that we have a bunch of stuff over there that has been there forever. Because what we would like to do is get everything out of the boneyard, take all that, mow all that down, put fabric down, and then put gravel over the fabric to try to keep the grass from growing up in it. That's one of the things we're looking at this point.
yeah.
And I wasn't trying to be where I knew something that someone else did, but I didn't know, and I'm not sure the members know what to do right now.
And I think that's fair, Patrick. And the answer is it's a work in progress.
Well, I'm saying maybe you can communicate to the members in the Echo and say, hey, here's what we want you to do.
We need a decision first.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, we will. We will. It's sudden. It's one of those things that, again, here we are on the 20th of June, and we got issues that we haven't had before.
And I get where the priorities are at.
That's
fine.
what we were all talking about at the last meeting, the priorities on different things were coming up, and that hasn't been our priority at this point. And, we've talked about, what are we gonna do when it comes time? They're gonna need mowed here shortly.
Sure.
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 So it's
Okay.
it's all coming up.
Okay, so there's a game plan. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
It'll be on the agenda next Tuesday. We'll do some thinking about it. Anything else?
I mean, just one suggestion. It has nothing really to do with just making it a little easier to get into that service dock. There's nothing to get a hold of when you pull your boat in. You got two tie-offs, but I didn't. That's two cleats.
Like a railing
But
or something.
yeah, actually, all you take is just a couple of posts sticking up where you can just literally get a hold of it. Because now, if you get the boat stopped and get it tied off, people do have to get in front of the gate, which we're screaming and hollering about. So if you could just be a couple of 2x4 set up there where you can get a hold of it to get it and wrap the rope around it real quick before you can get off the boat. Because everybody's parking there just for a second. You're loading up everything, and there's no place to get a hold the boat in so you can put this stuff on. It's a simple fix.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, Jim. Thank you. That's a good point. We'll look at it. Yeah, because I was up there today because I got a new veteran for my boat. That's exactly right. Okay. Moving on, obviously, since the last time we met, we had a resignation in the food service, and we have been working. I've got they're not unofficially a committee, we call them a task force. And I've got, Patrick has been the board rep to the group, and then there's three other members of the club Kathy Clevenger is on it, Kevin McLean, and John Blankenship, and myself. So we've been working this problem. We have some candidates we're interviewing. We actually made a couple offers or tentative offers early on, and we're not successful with them, but we're looking really, really hard to get somebody to be the new general manager of the club, and hopefully I'll have some, I hope.
You mean up the lodge?
What I say.
You said up the club.
I've often said the more you talk, the more your foot comes up and moves closer to your mouth, and that was a good case of it. So no, of the food service. So we're working on that, and we'll, again, we've got a couple interviews scheduled here in the very near future, and I'll let you know what we come up with that. So it's going along. It's going slow, but nevertheless, it is what it is. But we're working pretty hard. One of our members, by the way, last week was up frying hamburgers on half price burgers.
He did a nice job too.
Did he?
Came out and asked how we liked them, and they were good.
They were good. I'm glad.
I think he's had some experience with the burgers.
Yeah, I told him we pay $10 an hour, and I'd be happy to reimburse him for his time. He told me to keep the change. So anyway, we're moving along on that, and we hopefully will do it. In the meantime, one of the issues that we had also been talking about for quite a while was having somebody actually designated as the service manager or the dining room manager, as far as assistant manager, I would say. And so we discussed that at length within our group, and the group was unanimous in selecting Kat Sigler to move into that position. So she's assumed that position. We had a very good interview with her. She was very professional and prepared for it. And again, I think I can tell you that my group was unanimous and strong in their recommendation to select her for that position. So we're moving forward. Brandon Morgan is manning the kitchen right now. He's really the only cook we have, and that's an issue we're dealing with because we're really dependent. That's why our fellow member was back there cooking, was because it was half price burger night and more burgers than he could flip. So that's one thing we're really concerned about. Again, we're trying to make some reaching out to everybody we know. We've reached out to Hocking College, we're reaching out to Columbus State. We're running some other ads, so hopefully we'll be able to get that solved. We do ask for people's patience. We're restricting the menu right now because we're trying to let people know what we're doing so that they aren't disappointed. There's nothing worse than having people come in and they're trying hard and they're doing the best they can. They're doing a good job, not the best they can, but they're doing a good job, and we'll continue to try to do that. So that's where we're at.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
The opening, is it for a general
Yes.
dining room manager, or is it for chef, or both?
This position we're looking at right now is the general manager.
Okay, so they would not be
Necessarily cooking. I mean, again,
creating menus or anything
we
like
can,
that?
well, of course. I mean, I think that's what you would want is, I wouldn't want to tie the hands of somebody you bring a senior person into that position and you ask them to bring you back up, what might be, how they would prefer to operate. So we have Brandon now, and the person was happy with him as going forward, or want to bring somebody additional in. Again, I think it's first things first. And, but yeah, we are looking for a general manager of the food services. That's the position we're searching for aggressively right now.
Okay, I just wanted to know the scope.
Again, and then, the way I prefer to manage is then I ask that person, as part of the process, what do they think is the optimal way to operate? And then we will. And again, I've got people who are working with me who are very knowledgeable and very committed to making this thing work.
Yeah, this may be anecdotal, but we were up there Saturday night, and it was pretty crowded, and especially in the bar area. And you know what? Everything was moving. All the pizzas were coming out. Everything. Everybody was happy, but the staff was just really cranking. And hats off to those guys. It was busy, but I didn't see anybody saying, were not getting taken care of. They were all being taken care of,
Good.
and they were given a drink and they paid for it. But it was.
Except for the boardroom.
Yeah, it was, it was good to see, though, they're always so positive, those guys, and it was busy, and it was probably pushy. Paul, you were up there as well, and it was great to see that, so it's
That's great.
working, it's working. They're also attempting to get up there as well.
That's the response, that, you know, I wasn't here last week, but I certainly talked to people, and so far, most of the comments have been positive, so it's pretty cool.
We had dinner there with the buffet. It was good.
Good.
Price was right.
Good.
Any other questions of Jim?
Only final other thing is our architect is working with our structural engineer. I think they're converging on the final plan in phase 1 and phase 2. Certainly, those are the two that are going to happen first. Once they get that put together in total agreement, then the engineer will stamp our plans, and then it's a matter of figuring out a workforce. Kathy sent us a note that said fundraising is going extremely well. We're ahead. We're going to probably do a fundraising event of some sort here, and I think the next step is to come up with what we think is the budget of it, and once we can merge on the budget, we can share that. Then I think we'll be able to give you a little more concrete information on that.
Eric, your eye in the sky is talking to us. Sorry, Jim.
They don't know what that means.
Somebody may be following you, actually. But anyway, I'll keep you abreast on that.
Pay no attention to that.
Okay.
You need a quarter?
So, anyways, again, the process of, anything, we don't have the money yet to start. So once we have the money, once we know what it'll cost, then we have the money. And we talked to a few folks about who might be interested in providing some professional guidance in actually the construction of the project as well, so.
Okay. All right, moving on. Randy, General Manager's report.
Thank you, sir. Delinquency totals, I have them as of May of this year. Regular assessments were 57,562. As of this month, they went down about $2,500 or 55,072. So that's a good thing. Road assessments are up a little bit, but that's just because of everybody that's delinquent is getting a $20 late fee. And if you got the new delinquent list, what did I do with that?
I like those big numbers over there, Randy.
Yeah, there's nobody on the 60-day list for regular assessments. And there's nobody going to the attorney for regular assessments. Now, there is about 6 people on the 60-day list for the dam assessments, but all of those folks, they pretty well pay up after they get a little bit of prodding. So anyway, pretty proud of that. But also, I also sent out an updated, I don't have with me, of what the results were from last month. So we had results from everybody. And if you look at this one right here, that with this new one we have, there's 2 people on there, or 2 properties on there on the legal end that have sold. They went through foreclosure process and they have sold. So those 2 will be coming off of there as of soon. And so that's a good thing. Also, the dam assessment total as of yesterday was $312,669. So we're keeping that up where it needs to be. We still owe Eagle about 125 or something thousand as the retainage. And we were a little bit concerned that we wouldn't be able to maintain enough to make our payments, but this is proof that we are doing that and well. You probably noticed the road closures from time to time here within the last week on the main road, Hideaway Hills Road. And that's because maintenance is installing the culverts. We have about probably 6 culverts in the main road that needs to be installed before we start the motor pave. and which involves road closures. Fortunately, unlike last year, where we didn't have a detour around this part of the road, we do have detours around that. So you will be seeing that probably for the rest of this week and probably next week before they get all the culverts installed in the main road. Also, as most of you are aware of, we've had issues with the AC unit in the clubhouse for quite some time. So we're getting that replaced. That's the replacement of that AC unit starts tomorrow, or will happen tomorrow. So hopefully that'll help cool down that clubhouse quite a bit. And so that's a good thing because we've struggled with that for quite a few years. There's also going to be a new furnace and heat pump replacement for the dining room. That will give us all new equipment. Two units, one in the kitchen, the one in the far end of the dining room were replaced through the fire. The other one in the bar was replaced here a couple of years ago, and this new one is the last one for the dining room upstairs, which will be replaced, I believe it's next Monday. They're coming in Monday to do that. Yeah, Monday. So that'll be a good thing also. As we had a little bit of talk here about the boat storage area, we're going to be cleaning that up as well, getting some of the equipment out of there that's not being used anymore, or people are gone, so we'll be hauling that out, hopefully making, like Paul says, making it a little bit better and easier to maintain because it keeps growing up and you really can't do anything about that. So that will be happening starting next month. One thing I wanted to pass along also is the motorcycle track has been rebuilt and is complete. And it's going to be better for all riders regardless of their abilities. If you're a professional rider, there's ways you can go through there and still have a good time. And then for some of the less experienced riders also, they've designed the tracks like that. So that'll be good. Also, you've probably noticed the porta potties down front because we've had a problem with that septic system. We've had that problem for years. We issued the contract here to get that replaced this week, pretty much. And so it'll probably be another couple of weeks before that gets started, but we're going to start to put a new septic system for that down there. So we won't have a problem with that in the past.
Randy, will that be primarily in back of the building? Is that where most of that work will be done?
No. Well, excuse me, we'll use the existing tank. We're gonna add a lift station, and then the leach field will be where the boat storage area was this
Okay.
past year.
No, probably nothing will be though in front of that building?
Oh, no, it's nothing.
Okay.
It's all gonna go under the road.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's all I have, so unless somebody has a question.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
go ahead.
The Porta Johns out here, I saw there's wood, are they gonna enclose that?
What we're going to do there, yes, the plan was to just put a backing and sides on it. But once we took another look at that, we thought we were still gonna be able to see it from when it entered in the lodge, so we're gonna put a lean-to roof over top of it.
That's where they're gonna be though?
That's where they're gonna stay,
I
yeah.
mean, just
Yeah.
coming down there, you get a whiff of that. Is there any other place that put those?
We looked at them, we looked at other places, really couldn't come up with anything any better.
You're about the amphitheater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got any thoughts?
No, I just, where they're at when you come down there.
I don't like them there either myself, but.
None of us.
We walked down there, was it you and I and or Greg? We were up here for some reason, we got talking about it, we walked up, and it looked like it was a flat spot on the other side, kind of down towards the amphitheater. I don't know whether anybody thought about it.
Well, we looked at that last year when we first started putting them there. We put them down there, that one area there that was kind of rickety. There is a spot on farther back
That's
where that road is.
That's what I was talking about.
But there's a couple things, then how are you gonna cover them? How is the company gonna be able to get in to pump them?
Yeah.
And so those were, I mean, if anybody's got any other suggestions, that seems
Could
like
you
the
build
right
a level
spot.
platform where they were last year?
Well, you could, but I mean, they're only, another 25, 30 feet away from where they were.
That's better than where they're at now.
I mean,
I mean, if you could just build a platform to set them on it, that was, the whole problem is you move there and you're afraid you're gonna take a trip that you wouldn't forget.
Well, but then, I mean, you're gonna.
Well said.
But if you do that, then how are you gonna cover them? Are you gonna turn them the other way, so you enter them downhill, or are you gonna build a platform?
You wanna, in other words, you wanna block them from view from the.
Yeah, that's the idea, is block them from view, and then still be able to access them and still hold the company so they can come and pump them. So.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't come up with any, but there's no good solution at this point.
I mean, another thought Rick had, a good thought, was to put them up on the hill across from the post office, up against that tree line there, but then people have to walk up the hill.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, Jim, like Jim said, it wasn't a real good solution.
We just might take another look at what Jim was suggesting and see if we could phase them out and still get into service them.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Any other questions for Randy?
I have
Yeah,
a couple.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, the post offices, they used to only be for member notices. And they've got things from churches, from other places, and I think maybe members with that church. But they have all kinds of things. I mean, there's really hardly any room on the bulletin boards to get anything up if you're having an event, because, and I mean, we're getting some really big posters up there. And is maintenance still, or security still
Security's-
taking it down monthly?
Depending on the date.
Okay,
If the event hasn't happened yet,
they're leaving it
they're
up.
leaving it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But,
But, I mean, since I've been here, our non-members have posted things, contractors have posted things ever since I've been here.
but didn't
Maybe
we
not
talk
as
about
much.
that?
But if you wanted to stop that, well, we'll pull it down. I mean, that's kind of up to you how you folks want to do that.
Well, if you just let everybody put everything up, pretty soon you might as well make the whole room a bulletin board.
Well, I
because,
don't disagree.
You know,
but
they're
just-
putting them on the doors now, and they're putting them on the
Yeah.
walls now. Up here, I think they have down there.
Yeah.
I would like to see it just to be for member
Member events only.
member events. What do you think?
Member advertising.
I mean, if a church is having a social in Freeman, I don't know that that's something that we need on our bulletin board here. I mean, that's a nice idea, but,
Well, I'm not disagreeing. I mean,
I know. But I mean, I've been noticing it for quite a while, and just wanted to bring it up, the fact
I'll
that,
just say this is a board decision and not a management decision.
I was just gonna say the opposite, but anyway.
It sounds like policy to me, buddy.
You know what, I just think that you makes a good point, and, there's,
It seems like things begin to grow. I can remember it's always been where it had to be on that board,
right,
and people would jockey around and rearrange the boards, but it was on the board. And then things begin to grow out, and I think that's where you have to stop, and how you limit that, that's a toughie. But I do believe that taking over that room, it will just continue to grow, and people will come in with bigger posters, et cetera.
they do.
So,
And it could damage property, I mean, the paint, the walls, depending on what they use.
I just don't know how you decide who.
well, yeah, I think you just
Well,
have to figure out a way to,
Member only stuff.
member only activities in Hideaway Hills.
Yeah.
And only on boards.
Only on the board.
But, and member advertising, you want to sell a vote or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, member advertising, yeah.
And you, but between now and additional business, we figure out how you're gonna phrase that motion. And then we would also have to put something up on there to tell people what it is. On the board. Okay. Any other questions? Jim, you had some.
Yeah, I had a couple. There's a boat, I want the dock checked tonight. At the swimming cove, or where we put the docks in for the beach. It's been there for 2 months. It doesn't have any numbers.
Is that the paddle boat?
That's the paddle boat.
It's coming out tomorrow.
Okay, it's not even registered for this year. It's coming out tomorrow, good, because it's been a pain in the neck to get in. The maintenance boat, I was down there looking today at the paddle boat. The maintenance boat is tied up, so it's blocking 2 others, so.
Okay.
There's been 4 of those that haven't been able to use. If you're gonna have to keep the maintenance boat down there, couldn't you keep it clear down on the far end,
Oh, yeah.
towards the dam? That way, it would
Yeah.
clear up more of those.
Minimize, yeah. it's good.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I'm glad to see that paddle boat go out, getting out of there.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
and the other one I've got is the silt dam. Have we ever, or silt pond, have we ever dredged that in the last 2
Yeah.
years? We
Yeah,
have?
he did that, Downer did that when he did that area up there.
It was completely done.
Okay, I just didn't
Yeah.
remember whether it had been done or not. I thought it might be getting time if it had.
Yeah, no, we have, and we probably ought to add some more rock to the one side of the silt dam as well in the fall sometime. There'll probably be some additional maintenance. I've asked Lindsay to tell us exactly which, you have to look back at the drawings. Lindsay Walker from 2LMN. I've asked her to look at how much material we should add to bring it up to speed, so we'll do that. But yeah, no, Jim Downer from Dow Construction.
When he was dredging, he dredged that out too.
He got it all cleaned up.
Okay, good.
Right, I have one more. I was in the office this week where it was just Penny, and somebody came in, visitors, wanted information on Hideaway Hills before they took any tour of homes in Hideaway Hills. Somehow they came in without a realtor or anything, and they were in the office.
Okay.
And I just had a conversation with a member a few days before that about the fact that it seems like more people are coming in and just getting through security without, a reason,
Well.
or without a member, without a realtor.
Did we know they came in that way? Because the gates, I mean, you can get 5 cars in behind somebody else at the
Right.
gate because of the delays.
She asked them if they had a realtor, and they said, no, they didn't yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they came through the front, but,
Was there a possibility that they came in with a member, but that member didn't come in with them to the office?
they didn't know anybody or
Really?
anything. They were
Okay.
just looking for all the information they could find about Hideaway Hills.
We get that often. Yeah. I mean, we get that contractors, delivery people. We got a guy in a delivery truck that came in through the back gate the other day. He had a truckload of stuff for the golf course. And so he pulls up on his GPS and it takes him to the back gate. It does that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they sit back there and wait till the gate opens. Or they think the gate's gonna open, somebody comes through and the gate's open. Yeah, that's an issue we've had for years.
So until we do something about our entrance and exit from Hideaway Hills, we're kind of.
That's on the list.
Randy, those gates used to go shut. You could pull forward and you could hit your closer.
Yeah, the new closures won't do that.
They won't do that. There's nothing we can do about it.
New closures don't have that.
Then about the only thing you can do is put an e-blast out reminding all members.
Well,
that when they pull up-
there's members that'll, if they see somebody behind them and it doesn't look like they have a sticker, they'll pull through the gate and just wait till the gate closes
Well, I mean, I do that. I do that.
Yeah.
I got the flip side on security. A member called me yesterday. They had asked somebody for a bid on trees, I think. And they were very uncomfortable with the person who gave the bid. And so they just ignored it and they got another bid. And a couple of days later, they get a call from security. Your tree service is here. And they were concerned about because the other one wasn't coming yet. And so they said to security, okay, we check it out. Security not only checked it out and called them back and say no. She explained the one she was worried about. Randall also went back to the car, had the car pull over the side, went back to the car. He looked at the guy. There were 2 people in the car. And Randall said to the other passenger, I think you better drive this car out of here. The first guy was not in a condition to drive. So, I mean, security, there's an example of security really doing a good job. And I've also heard complaints from people, well, why doesn't security leave my guest in? They know it's my guest. No, I'm sorry, they're gonna call and ask you. So they generally catch it. I'm not saying that they never get through, but I just didn't want it on the record that, they weren't doing it. I think Randy's.
Well, the other issue they get a lot is a non-member will pull up to the guest or the gate and say, I'm here to see such and such. And they're not on the list. So what does security do? Send them away? Well, they don't do that. They call a member if they get a hold of the member. But actually, the members are supposed to call those folks in. And that would be probably a good reminder for in the Echo, because they get a lot of that and spend a lot of time calling members because a guest just show up.
And also while operating as a satellite part of Amazon.com too. It's a big part of what's going on down there too. How many delivery items we're taking in all day long.
Any other questions for Randy? I thought it was gonna be a quick meeting tonight. Moving on to committee reports, you got the committee reports. One of the things we did ask the committee chairs to do is get the reports in. But before we get into the reports that you have and going around the table, there are a couple of things I need to do regarding committees. First of all, it was pointed out to me that under the bylaws, not only do we have to appoint a chair of the management committee, we are supposed to appoint a vice chair of the management committee. And Chaz Cross has been operating in that capacity, but we have never formally, as I could find in the minutes, appointed him. So I would like somebody to make a motion to appoint Chaz Cross as vice chair of the management committee.
I'll make that motion.
Patrick Foy made the motion to appoint Chaz,
Second.
and Linda Lonsinger seconded the motion. Any discussion? With that, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, motion passed. Chaz is officially your vice chair. And Chaz didn't point it out, Jim Sickfus pointed it out. So.
Mentioned to me, he said, we never did that.
Well, I think what brought it up is knowing that Mr. Krieger is term limited, that we have to take some actions there. All right, we also need to approve the resignation of Al Kalis from the architectural control. They're buying a place in Columbus, won't be here as much. Al has done a fine job for us, but that would take place at the end of the month, but we should approve it now. So will somebody make a motion to remove Al, taking a resignation from Al as ACC chair?
We did this.
Eric Lapp, did we do it? I was looking for it, couldn't find it.
We did this last month. Motion to accept Al Kayla's resignation.
I withdraw that comment.
As of July 1st.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, now, thank you.
You're welcome.
I was looking at the e-votes. I thought that's how we did it. All right, then we do have to approve a motion to appoint Carl Grasnow as the new chair of ACC as of July 1st, and I will.
Did we approve that?
No, we did not. I sent out a note about it, making sure we had, if anybody wanted input, and making it clear that that was a unanimous decision of not only the committee, but Randy. So, will somebody make a motion to approve Carl Grasnow as the chair of ACC?
So moved.
Moved by Eric, second by Patrick Foy. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? With that, I'll go around the room. Which way do you want me to start, Jim?
Jim.
No, Jim's got something, so why don't I do that?
Oh, you want me to do mine first just because I never have it?
I want to confuse people.
Yeah, all I got is a fund request.
Well, that's what we're doing.
And I cannot make the motion, but I can tell you that Todd Cahill wants $100, up to $100 for the new windsock in the airport. The old one's gone, and if we'll approve the money, he'll get it erected. And according to FAA regulations, it should be up there.
I'll make that motion.
And that's coming out of airport committee funds.
Yes.
All right, so I've got a motion by Patrick, second.
I'll second.
Second by Ginger, to approve up to $100 for a new windsock for the airport. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
I'll be done now for the next year. We need another windsock.
We're gonna be here for the next year while Tom does his report. Actually, you want me just to read them?
Sure.
We've got them down. These are all, I'll just read them, so I have to read them twice. These are all related to the member guest. And let's approve them all in one.
One's not, it's just.
One, I don't know, I got that one. You're right, you got me right. $534.78 for Karen McNabb for food and supplies. $503.08 for Eagle golf carts for rental and damage to one cart, which golf is gonna try to get part of it back.
Actually, on that, she had 503.08, but down there, she has 583.08. It was $103.08 for the game.
So, all right, so I'll amend that to make it 583.08, right?
Correct.
All right, that includes the damage, all right. $309.06 to specialty printing for the banner and sponsor signs for the new member guests. $796.27 for Hideaway Hills Clubhouse for ice, beverages, and supplies, food supplies. $175.48 to Sherry Panacea for food items. $313.79 to Bauer and Sons Meat for meat supplies, that's member guest. $84.44 to Cindy Lockhart for setup materials. And $227.78 to Karen McNabb for liquor for the basket raffle. May I have Tom, are you making a motion to approve those?
So
Approved by Tom Matthews, second by Eric Lapp. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so that is passed. Also have from the golf committee $1,400 to Beatty Tree Service for tree trimming. And Tom was making that, so, okay, second,
I second.
Ginger. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Anything else, Tom?
that's it.
Member guest went well.
Yeah, it was a good time, had a big turnout, the weather was great, and Karen McNabb and her committee did a great job. Everybody had fun, and it was just a really good time.
Boy, those people on the Jaeger hole did a good job too, buddy.
I heard there was a very sketchy group that won the championship.
Yeah, some of my brothers Rangers, but yeah, you got those people.
All right, Linda?
Just quickly, Lakes Committee, the concert was really well attended. I guess there were about 100 boats out, not including people out on the dam. They had the tadpole fish contest this past weekend and had 26 contestants and only 13 came to weigh in though. But I think a good time was had by all. I do not.
They do that in layers by age groups too.
Yeah, I've got it for the Echo, but it's by age and then first, second, and third in each one, so. Check your Echo online.
Do we know the biggest fish at least?
That was in another email. No, sorry. Suspense, waiting. The Echo comes out or online. Or we can get more people to tune in if we.
Maybe we can webcast the tadpole fishing next year.
You know, that might be well announced. Anyway, the ORV report, they're putting banners up, and as I think you mentioned, Jim or Randy, one of you, they're really working on the track, hoping to have it all up and running soon and safe to be enjoyed by everyone. We had a youth rules committee meeting over Memorial Day. It was well attended, and I believe we're kind of just waiting to see what the need is for this summer. But if you hear anything, happily we'll do another one, or the group will do another one. And I know that Jim and Chaz have had several one-on-one meetings with members to kind of get them up to date with the youth rules.
And we have not had any incident reports regarding youth operations that are irregular.
And folks in the last meeting, I think were pretty attentive and responsive, and went well. That's all I got.
Dave?
Request for 100 reimbursement from Social Committee for $160.13 to me for the dunk tank for the dam jam. And I'll get you a receipt as soon as I pick that up, Ginger.
Okay, thank you.
You making that motion?
I am.
To get yourself some money?
Yes.
We have a motion by Mr. Miller to reimburse himself $160 for the dunk tank for the dam jam. Is anybody gonna second that?
Oh,
Okay, Linda Lotsinger, you second.
We'll have a receipt.
Any discussion?
I will have a drink.
What's that?
I was
Okay.
thinking maybe someone would buy.
All right, hearing no discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried, you'll get your money when we get our receipt. Anything else?
We had the cook-off competition this weekend, that went real well. We had two independent judges, I believe. I think there was a third that canceled out. But that was great, the band was good, and Mike Burnside ended up winning. People's Choice as well as the independent.
And the judging position sold out very early. And there's a plan afoot next year
Yeah, there
to.
definitely is. I got there, I didn't even get it. I luckily ended up getting one wristband, but that was it. And I was right there at 4 o'clock, it was sold out.
So it's a hot event.
Yeah, it's good event, so.
And Scott is gonna be cooking at the clubhouse for,
Yes, he is.
for what?
And he's cooking ribs for the guest. He's going to be the guest chef or whatever.
Yes, real bad.
Okay. What event though is that?
You just go to,
He just called it.
It's the night before the dam jam, I believe.
Is that what it is? Okay. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Valerie?
Yes, we'll start with the chapel committee, and I move that we reimburse Bill McClinchy, and this is for adapters for the amplifier for the chapel, $33.71.
Can we have a second?
Sure.
All right, motion by Valerie to reimburse Bill McClinchy $33.71 for adapters for the sound system, seconded by Patrick Foy. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's passed.
And then next, activities for youth. I have a few things, so just a few, well, 3. I move that we approve, I'll go these 2 first. For July the 15th, from 10 to 2, that's our arts, the garden festival, the arts thing over there. They want to have a food stand. She's got a little bit more detail on it. And accept donations for food. And everybody's in agreement that they want them to do that. But anyway, that's July the 15th, 10 to 2. And then the second event would be the following week, July 22nd at 4. And they want to have a family potluck field day at the shelter house. So, number 1, I move that we approve them to have the food stand for donations on July the 15th from 10 to 2. And then also go ahead and approve on July the 22nd at 4, a family potluck field day. They're going to play games and whatnot. How just kid stuff. Family oriented, of course.
And where's that?
That one's gonna be at the shelter
The
house.
shelter.
And that's open to members then. It's open to all members then. Or is it
Yeah, I
just-
assume, for the family potluck and field day, we're gonna have games, kickball, 3-legged race, egg walk. The committee's gonna provide food and drinks, well, some drinks and games. Families will be asked to bring food based on the first letter of their last name. So for example, I would bring beer. Anyway, so just get approval for those 2 things.
Can I have a second on the approval? By Tom Matthews. We have a motion on the floor for activities for youth, a potluck field day on July 24th at 4 p.m. at the shelter house, where the families are invited with all kinds of games. And then that they're going to participate in the Garden Arts Fest with a food stand on July 15th. That was a motion by Valerie, approval by Tom. Any questions?
I'm presuming they've checked to make sure that facility is available.
I
I was
assume.
just going to say the same thing.
I assume.
Well,
Why don't we just vote on the yes, barring that it's not already taken, or if they have to work something out?
Sure.
They can come after there, but that's right, yeah, all right, let's assume. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion is passed.
Okay then, on that same note, I'm asking that you approve and make a motion, you approve of up to $200 from their funds for both events.
For supplies, for the food stamps, all right. Motion by Raleigh, second.
Second.
By Linda, to approve up to $200 for supplies for the activities for youth food stands at the potluck and at the Garden Arts Fest. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it is passed.
Okay, one more, and this is huge. Activities for youth, again, this is gonna be, and forgive me for bringing this up so early, but we gotta get a couple of people on board with it, including Randy is gonna need to give an okay on this one. This is activities for youth. It's gonna be August the 4th, and they're gonna try to hold it at Area 54. One of our members, full-time member here, is gonna sponsor a Tag and Mobile laser tag event. It's gonna be Friday, August the 4th in Area 54. And it's gonna start at 6, end up at 8, and you're gonna have younger kids doing stuff first, and then the older kids doing stuff second. So we just wanna make sure, is it mowed over there, is it, you know what I'm saying? So they can set up. And Shanna's gonna get in contact with you, but we need to get these approved so we can get them on the calendar, so that we don't have anything conflicting.
And that's when August the 4th. What's the date?
August 4th.
August the 4th, that's a Friday in Area 54.
I might as well say who the sponsor is.
The sponsor of this is Amber Haynes, and she's a real estate agent with Better Homes and Gardens, Big Hill, and she is providing all the funding for this for the kids.
Wow.
Just to get her poster up there, her name up there and everything. I think that's a pretty cool idea. And thanks to her for stepping up to do that. I know Shanna's pretty excited about it.
Valerie's making the motion, who's gonna second?
I'll second.
Dave Matthews is seconding.
Dave
for-
Matthews.
Dave Matthews,
Dave
Dave
Bring your
Miller.
band.
Very good.
You bring your band.
Good, I thought I was gonna get through the meeting without one. The Activities for Youth wants to have a laser tag event sponsored by Amber Haynes on August 4th at the Area 54 from 6 to 8. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Ginger.
I don't have any requests, but just a reminder that the Health and Wellness Committee is having their 5K run walk this Saturday. Starts at 9 a.m. at the clubhouse, and you can sign up then, but you can't get a t-shirt. Be assured of a t-shirt. There's a few extra that have been ordered and stuff. Yep. That's all.
Patrick?
I have nothing from Long Range Planning or Food Fellowship and Fun. Adopt an area, Carter's leaving, I'll probably come with her. And we really are.
But who will dump on the recycling? Who's gonna?
I'll do that from where I'm at. Linda Mountjoy has just been a huge helper here for probably 20 years. And Bob and Linda just said, look, we just can't continue to do all that. So we're gonna need some help. And I am seeking helpers. It's kind of hard just to get people to water. It's probably not the sexiest thing working out front. But there's a guy named Henry who comes down. I don't know if this guy comes down in the middle of the night, but these bushes get trimmed. And there's a guy who volunteered on his own, and Carter helped him, but he basically painted the front side. And these guys just pop up and do it. The challenge is we need someone to kind of spearhead Adopt an Area. So I'm looking, Carter's looking. It's really more of somebody to lead the orchestra. There's these band of gypsies who show up to do stuff. Not enough of them, but we need a little bit of direction there from the standpoint of finding a chairperson. So if you know of anybody, let us know and we'll work on that.
I would think that Ginger was put in the echo that we're looking for a chairperson.
I don't mind that.
I think they automatically think they're gonna get stuck carrying everything. That's not the case. Somebody just has to leave.
Okay,
E-blast would be a good idea on that area.
yeah.
Ricky, gotcha.
We have not got a communication from Carter that she's resigning, so maybe she can't leave.
Well, I sent it to you with my resignation.
Did I blow that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's two for me. Okay, well then we'll need a motion to accept Carter's resignation as of June 22nd. Second chair.
Made the motion.
No, I can't make a motion. You
I'll make the motion.
Eric Black made the motion.
Second.
Second by Ginger Reed to accept Carter Floyd's resignation from adopted area since they're moving. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It is passed.
Oh, look, they're opposed out there. They're no.
I'm opposed.
Greg, I'm not throwing you a curve. I may have put those two together. So,
Don't worry about it. I make enough mistakes. Everybody knows that. Anything else, Patrick? Eric?
I get that.
I got that.
Good. All right, with that, we move into open forum. I don't know, there's only two people here. There's three here.
Yeah, Kraus.
Oh.
He's hiding behind the ladder.
They all three want to talk.
Do we have to let them?
All three want to talk, wow.
Wonder what they want to talk
Anybody want to
about.
talk?
Jim full of shit.
No, no thank you.
Okay.
I like these.
Okay. Mr. Lloyd wants to speak in open forum as a member.
Yeah, this is kudos. Last Saturday, my kids and grandkids came down and we wanted to go shooting. And I just want to say what a great job the range committee did. Jim Hiles was the range officer. He brought us in, we're all have done a lot of shooting, but anyway, he didn't know this, so he went through the spiel and did a great job. Let us know that this was not a fun and games. It was fun, but it wasn't a game. And he was particularly helpful when my one son tried to zero in a weapon. He got right in there and worked with him. My daughter had not shot pistols much. She worked with her. So anyway, I just want to say, instead of coming up here and complaining, what a great job one of our committees and the committee member, Jim Hiles, did. There was 8 of us, and we burned up about 1,200 rounds of ammunition. It sounded like a war down there.
Anybody else in the audience want to speak in open forum? Hearing none, we'll move right back into the meeting. Okay, under unfinished business, I will take lot 580 first. That was the lot with the general stuff around the yard and a deck that was, the railing was falling down. The yard is improved enough to the point that I think we should not move on that, and the railing has been repaired, so I don't think we have any further considerations on lot 580. We worked with that member and they finally got it done. Regarding lot 2035, as you recall, during the Article 9 hearing, he promised to cooperate. He asked earlier, last week, he asked to use my weed whipper because his wasn't working, and Randy advised me to send him an email. I sent him an email twice, called him, no response. Hasn't used the weed whipper. The weeds aren't whipped. I did have 2 people drive by who are members. He wouldn't call back or return. We were going to get permission for 3 members to go on and look. He won't reply. So I would say we move ahead with the Article 9 fine of $250, and maybe we can wake the gentleman up. So I'd like a motion to proceed. We talked about it, and that was the fine. We were going to waive it if indeed he did clean it up. We're just not getting cooperation. So may I have a motion to move forward on that?
I'd like that motion.
Dave Matthews is making a motion in a second.
I'll say.
Dave!
You're just such a cool guy.
Who was the second?
Steve Miller.
Wrong band. name.
Also second.
Thank you. All right,
For the things you'll miss.
whatever. Any discussion?
So this was,
Way better for the mic, so she can hear it. Dave Matthews made the motion, Dave Miller made the motion.
Tom
Matthews seconded
Dave Miller.
the motion to go ahead with the $250 fine on lot 2035. Now, any discussion?
just remember, this was the gentleman that came in here, and we gave him, what, a month to, and nothing,
30
that's
days.
why, so we had suspended it, and then now we're, okay.
And he's actually had more than 30
He's a
days.
few days
Yes.
over 30 days.
Right.
Okay, just wanna make sure I understood.
That's fine.
Okay.
Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Next thing on the agenda is the Ford letter follow-up. That letter was turned over to management, and they have looked at the items. And there, in the discussion at management meeting, it was said that the items, most of the items are reasonable. We don't have the time to do them. Maintenance is just so snowed right now, with all the things, and we keep adding things to maintenance, a little thing here, a little thing there, some of it has to be done, like, put the surround around the, porta pots out there, things like that. And then they're working on getting the, culverts in. How many culverts we doing there? 8? 6?
Well, there's 6 on the main road.
Okay, 6 on the main road that we have to have done for the moto pit.
We probably got 15 or 16 different locations within the hills that we need to redo the culverts in.
Putting all new, buoys out on the Lake of Four Seasons,
Yeah, we've got buoys
concrete pads for the lights on the dam. I mean, maintenance is up. They're told. So it's the case, we just have to admit that, that letter had some good stuff. It's on the record. They're going to try to get to that stuff. A lot of it will not get done in the near future.
Management is, and our staff, it's a constant battle of prioritization, as it is within any organization. And it's not that we don't admit and agree that those are things that would be nice to do, but we have to prioritize to what we think. There's 5 of us with Randy along with us who are trying to do that every 2 weeks. And so, again, we'll get to them as best we can when we can, but first things first. And that's our job, is to determine what that is, and we will continue to do that.
Okay, that was just informational. Now, Mr. Lloyd asked to bring up the pond lot. We're talking about the 2 lots near the Bremen Gate that we've talked about before in executive session. Jim?
You all got it there in front of you. I'm not gonna go through that whole thing again for you, but it just makes good financial sense that we go ahead and sell one of those bond lots. I think we also ought to ask the neighbors first if we decide to do that, but I think we just need to know when you guys wanted to think about it over the period that didn't take a vote, so I guess all I'm asking for is a motion to sell one of the bond lots, and only one of them, keep the other one, but whichever one they want.
One thing is that there was a question before, can you put septic system on it? Yes, you can. That is a fact. You can get this one of the newer modern septic systems are more expensive, but that's in Fairfield County and you can do it.
I think you brought up a really good point, and I'd be willing to make that motion.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. A motion by Patrick Foy and a second by Eric Lapp to sell one of the 2 pond lots. Let's have any discussion? Questions?
I guess the only discussion is, well, how are we going to determine what the value is?
That's a good point. I was gonna bring that up later. I think we need to raise the price on all lots. Those were made up, 7, 8 years ago, Randy?
They've been that price this whole time.
Yeah.
And,
At least 10 years ago.
so it's time to take a look at that, and,
We don't have any lots left.
well, but the ones we do have left, we ought to
We're really
Yes.
close to.
It just directional. I think management would agree with that. But it doesn't have to be the same for every lot either.
No, it doesn't.
And that's where we intended to do that.
Right.
So. But I would say.
You can pull that off the website. I mean, it's not an official document. It's been on there for a long time. So
how are we gonna decide which of the two we sell?
Well, it would have to be the wooden one. I don't think he'd want to try to sell the other one, because that's the only way we have access to the,
Okay,
to the spillway.
all right.
And it'd have to be the wood one.
You know the number offhand?
Let me get a minute.
It isn't on this little one, is it?
Yeah, it's on there.
Is it on this one?
Oh, maybe not. Jim's got it right here.
Okay.
I know it's coming, wait a minute.
So it doesn't get lost on the way home?
Jim has a.
It would be 1684.
Okay.
If I could, as a audience member, just a question, the reason that you were keeping one is that will continue to provide access for the membership to
That's
that pond?
Well, plus maintenance.
Yeah.
I thought we discussed this and everybody said they didn't want us to.
We did.
Well, and I brought it up, you weren't here, and I brought it back up.
I inherited it from you. What the heck?
Anyway, I brought it up at the last meeting, that, and there's a sheet there, yeah, I can read it too. There's a sheet there explaining why I felt like that we needed to sell one.
The bottom line of why to sell is, you know, we're spending money on capital. You heard the report on all the air conditions and all that, and this puts some more money in the pot.
And generates money for us.
Well, in all fairness, Jim's made a good point, and he's done a lot of work on this. I also do have to say, and I'm the one who's making the motion, if we offer this to a member who's already here, some of these numbers dissipate.
Well, oh yeah, but we definitely have to let him know that it is up for sale. They have to offer it to him, just let him know it's up for sale. And if he wants
So if they
it,
were to buy it.
we'll still,
Adjoin this one.
But you know what, Jim, you made a good point.
How many lots does he own now? We know that. Would this make 3 for him?
I don't know.
I guess really that doesn't matter, Val.
Well,
I mean,
it's how much money
Yeah.
he's gonna have to pay extra for assessment
Yeah,
if that's the case.
but I think we're just talking about selling the lot. And
Yeah,
we got to prove selling the lot before we can let him buy it. See what I mean?
We can get it, we wanna get it
Well,
right.
it kind of goes back to my question, is how do we fairly determine what that value of that lot is? Because it's not $7,000. Or what is that our standard charge? right now?
75.
I mean, upon lot.
I think personally, that's what I said. I think they're all worth, not all of them, but the buildable ones are worth more than what we got on them. I think we can also make a decision on that at a later, we can make a decision.
But with this vote, we're voting to sell one of the lots. That does give us the second lot that is still held by the code.
That green space.
And if we ever do in the future, say, hey, you know what, somebody wants to take this, a committee wants to take this on as putting a little path in there, maybe put some a little more easier access to it, maybe some signage up, that still can happen. And I think when we first started talking about it, we looked at the space and said, wow, it's pretty tight in there. So I just gave it a second thought, and I thought Jim made a good point.
So do we know the acreage on that lot?
I do, but I don't know.
Is it
I
on that?
think one of them, at least
Yeah,
one of them was
this is
3/4 of an acre, wasn't it, Randy? We talked about it
Fairfield
last
County
month.
GIS, it's not.
Yeah, I think it was at least.
I think it's 3/4, but I'm not positive.
But it would still be accessible and members could use it, we could put signage and put a path in there and clean it up a little bit. That's just sort of a future project. Right now, at least we're holding it for the future. We're holding that other lot for the future.
I might suggest that we approve the sale, but Randy has to come back to the board with email and the price that we're gonna put on it.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
We're gonna
Get
make
the-
some money off of it, let's make some money.
Yes, good. And you, whatever source you wanna use to decide what the value is, talk to a realtor or whatever. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, got a motion on the table to sell lot 1684, motion by Patrick Foy, second by Eric Lapp. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
Okay, so that's 6 and 1. Okay,
motion carries.
motion carried, right, 6. Now, we're going to reaffirm the e-votes. And as we do this, there's a couple that everyone didn't vote, and it could be I missed the email, although my computer kind of puts them all together for me, but you can, when we're doing this reaffirmation of e-votes, you can change your vote or add to your vote, because it's not official until we actually read it now in the open board meeting. So I'll first do the one that was approved 6 with no nays. An e-vote to reimburse Lisa Jones on behalf of the Chapel Committee, a total amount of $547.95, consisting of $369.95 for a 900-watt 6-channel power mixer and $178 for a church copyright license for Song Select Basic. And that was approved 6-0. Can I have a reaffirmation of that approval? A motion to reaffirm, anybody? Linda making the motion.
Second.
Eric's making the second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, now I've got 4 of them that were approved 7-0. Approval for Emmanuel Lutheran Church to hold a collection for local food pantries at the shelter on July 30th. The normal rental fee would be waived. That was approved 7-0. Before I go on, 2 points. Emmanuel Lutheran Church is a member, by the way. Many people don't know that. And secondly, they called and withdrew their request for the event. They decided to do something else, but we made the motion, so we'll go through with it. I'm going to read all the 7 O's now. An e-vote for $1,665.66 payable to Vincent Promotion for golf prizes for the member guest. That was approved 7-0. An e-vote to reimburse Lisa Jones $283.43 for flowers she purchased for the chapel, approved 7-0. E-vote to approve the use of the great room for auditions on 6/19 and 7/30 and 6/22 at 5 p.m. for the performance of the Ha Ha Players. All those were approved 7-0. Can I have a motion to reaffirm those votes?
So moved.
Ginger Reed, making the motion. Second by Patrick Foy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's approved. All right, now the rest of them were approved 8-0, and they're on both sides of your page. Had a busy month. An e-vote to approve for the range committee to hold a workday on the range on Saturday, June 17th at 9 a.m. Approved 8-0. An e-vote to approve $3,036.50 made out to Promotions by Design. This is a fundraiser for Fun, Food, and Fellowship, and will come out of their available committee funds. That was approved 8-0. An e-vote to approve the Red Cross blood drives in the Great Room on Saturday, 7/29, 9/20, and 9/23 from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Approved 8-0. An e-vote to reimburse Robbie Snow $1,093 to pay the invoice for the purchase of the beach towels. Approved 8-0. An event for the social committee, these events for the social committee, $400 for Micah Kessler playing at the amphitheater. The Dam Jam 7/1/17, HB7 is $1,400, and the Crossfire Concert 8/12/17 is $1,600. That was approved 8-0. An e-vote to approve Aries Sportswear $1,021.68 to Aries Sportswear for the social committee Dam Jam t-shirts. Approved 8-0. An e-vote to approve the sale of 2122 to Jerry McKee and 2123 to John Mulhern for both. Each lot was $7,500 with the proposed easements. That was approved 8-0. Can I have a motion to?
You missed the gun.
We missed 2 of them.
2 of them.
The approval of the garden committee to sell strawberries.
Okay, this week, approved 8-0. That was the first
And
one.
then you vote to
Approved
McGuffey Lane.
down payment for McGuffey Lane of $2,360.
And then you didn't put the 87 cents on that. You vote for Robin Snow to pay the invoice for the beach towel. Come on, you didn't. It was $1,097. You missed 87 cents.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. Okay.
It could. Sometimes.
As Ginger has made the corrections, may I have a motion to reaffirm those e-votes?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Tom Matthews, second by all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Phew.
And when she's typing it up, she gets a copy of this, so she can type out.
So do it correctly.
Listen.
Nice job.
All right, we reaffirmed the e-votes, now we're down to new business. At this point, I'd like a motion to approve the resignation of Patrick Foy from the Board of Hideaway Hills on June 22nd. Who will reluctantly make that motion?
Nobody.
No one.
We're not going there.
Can you make your own motion?
Yeah, I can make it
You gotta do it yourself.
I hear birds tweeting and.
We're gonna be here a long time.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion moved by Patrick, any second?
I motion for a second.
Ginger Reed, there will be no discussion.
Do not want to be here all night.
All who approve the resignation, say aye. Any opposed?
Yeah.
The resignation is approved. The next one is informational. We have had several what I call sales parties or Tupperware parties. One is for ladies' clothes, large size ladies' clothes, in the great room. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them, but the one for the plus size clothes is, I think this is the third time they've done it. They're paying the $50 fee, they're reimbursing $25 if they clean it up. The member is making money off it, and sometimes they call in guests. It's a borderline thing. There was another one that's gonna go through for the second time. It's a different sports type stuff. I'm just informationally, I want to pass it out and say, is there any discussion, any concerns? These are members asking for the great room.
And it's primarily for members.
It's primarily for members. There's not a whole list of guests called in, but they'll have a couple of guests. Usually the guests are close friends or family members.
Are they typically here? Because I thought for some reason they were up in the dining room.
No, I think they're all here that I recall.
Here, as far as I know. Okay, so it's in the great room.
Right.
Okay,
So
so there's nothing going on necessarily in the lounge area or in their restaurant?
No.
There's not a reason, I'm just asking.
No, there is not. And they get them approved, they have to get the date approved in advance, that sort of thing, so.
So we're making a few bucks off of it.
25. It's a sales event though, I mean, that would be something
Okay.
we might want to
It's
say.
getting borderline to run the business in Highway Hills, but against the
I mean, they
the
could,
restrictions, but I don't think it's there yet, I mean.
right, they could indeed have it at their home. You know, a Tupperware party, we're not trying to say is a business, and they just say it's easier here. But they are bringing in both cases, they are bringing in the vendor themselves, the sportswear vendor, who comes in here with wares and displays them. And the member's not making a lot, I'm sure of that. If you ever own one of these things in your home, you don't make a lot. So, we don't have to make a decision on it, I just wanted to point it out because I'm seeing it happen on a somewhat regular basis.
If it's not a social event, I mean, you could have a separate fee. And that wouldn't take, just to see what it is.
Well, the problem we run into before, I mean, we just happened to catch this last time because they advertised it. Or they didn't advertise, they told us. But we found out that in the past, somebody just reserved the great room because we don't ask them why. And they reserved it and they had it. We were not aware of it until later.
It's not Facebook though.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can make it part of the forum that if you're gonna do some sort of business event. that you come in. I'm just thinking of how.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Because the whole idea of the great room for $25 is just for that.
No, I think, I was just gonna say, I think it's great that the board's talking about this because, you know, that language in the rule that we passed about, you know, using club amenities to, you know, enrich or remember the fishing thing, you know.
Yeah.
The language, I don't know how you'd say it any differently, but this does appear, you know, could, you know, technically, but, you know, I think that's just really prudent for the board to be aware of that and to make a decision on a case-by-case basis.
It's a slippery slope. You have to be careful.
Well, I'll leave it under unfinished business. You can think about it. If we want to make a rule, charge more, or make a rule against them, whatever, it's up to you guys. So let's write it up.
Who else is using the great room for the, I mean, is that kind of the old, I mean, I realize there's parties and things like that that members have. Well, what other reasons are there?
Exercise groups, the dancing group comes down here.
But they're not paying us a fee
No.
for that.
Well, people reserve it for reception, wedding reception.
Okay.
Graduation parties, all kinds of
Clinics.
stuff.
Okay, so they all seem to be social in
Yes.
nature, whereas this one is business.
And those are not selling anything, I guess is the point. Here we're selling, somebody's selling a product and making a profit.
And the others are private versus the people come in here and exercise in the morning. They'd be open to all members. It's not a private thing.
I think it turns on whether or not they are bringing in outside guests that they're selling to.
Well, if they're
It's the
bringing in
outside-
the representative for the factory, it's an outside guest.
Did the rule that we write, when we wrote that rule, did we mean to stop people from literally using the amenities to sell their product, not sell their product?
To
so much as
outside
with-
guests.
To outside people calling in social guests, whereby this one, this is for members, but yeah, they're gonna call in some of their friends and this type of thing, so it is something, it's.
Yeah,
Well,
but-
they can do it out of their house, and there's nothing we can do about it, so, I mean, they can either do it here or they're gonna do it at home, one or the other.
Well, they were using an amenity possibly to an extreme in the fishing.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
if they were
Exactly.
teaching people how to drive boats
Or scuba dive or anything like that.
Exactly.
Where this is mainly for members, but there's gonna be some outside guests coming in.
And again, the only thing and I'm not exactly Mr. Facebook, but I'm almost positive that one of the jewelry ones was done upstairs.
Missed it.
So I'm just, yeah, but it's coming back. But the only point I'm making is, and this is a confined, this is not involving, this is not soliciting our members who are upstairs. You have to come downstairs for this. Versus if it was upstairs, you could be walking by and somebody says, oh, what's going on over there? Or, come on over here. That to me is the solicitation part.
Well, the other thought is, they want to do that, we get a share.
Share the revenue, share the revenue.
If it's happening upstairs, I need to know about it, because it's a food service operation.
Well, I mean, you just say no.
Yeah,
I have not given approval for any.
Right, I didn't think
No,
so.
and the ones typically happen upstairs, the wine, the bourbon, or whatever, they're approved, and you're bringing them in, you're doing it.
Absolutely, that's us, but that's.
Each one participating is paying a fee to participate.
Are they? I didn't know that.
No, well, it was $30 a piece, I think.
I mean,
per
to the
tasting.
members.
Yeah, those who want to attend.
Well, it's, we'll leave it on the agenda for next week. Next month. All right, the ballot issues. I don't know that, and Tim, I appreciate your coming. I don't know that you want to do anything, explain them?
No, self-explanatory, I think.
The whole idea is that we
My
will
work is
publish
so
these
good,
in
there's no questions,
the
right?
Echo, right. To explain the issues that are on the ballot, and the Echo is in color. How if we could put them in italic for the printed Echo?
I need to do something different.
I'll resend it to you and put them, the changes in an italic bold for the copy, so they can say, okay. And the one, I will point out one, these are pretty easy changes, starting the nominating committee in January, and the idea of the hearing, that the only time on an Article 9 that they can have a witness, question of witness is at the hearing. That wasn't clear. But the ballot issue about the CPI increase, it's trying to explain to the members what's going on, that the average increase is only $238 a year. And
That's a month.
per month.
Don't be, I saw that.
Per, you know, you're right,
Yeah, it's $2.38 per month.
per month. That's right.
Well, you know, it doesn't go up $2.38 for the whole year assessment, it's $2.
Well, I think you just average that amount into 10 years. It was over a 10-year period, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $2.38 a month per year.
The monthly fee goes up by, yeah, it's a monthly fee.
Monthly fee, yeah. The way you worded it, or the way you just said it.
I worded it.
The way you just said it, it was like it was $2.38 per year.
So it's 24 hours and some change
Per year, right. So it's $238 per month.
Per year, or however you want to do it, or you can do it like Jim said, and just go 24 hours.
It would be an
change.
average annual increase of $238 per month, because
Yeah,
it's
there
not
you go.
gonna go up that every month, you know?
It does say that is an average increase of only $238 per
It should say per month, not per year. Because the dues went up 137 to 160, to 160, which is 30.
I think you wanna add,
Yeah,
if you say per month, you wanna say the average annual, because it happens just once a year. If you say
Yeah.
per month, then you know.
Yeah, the average annual increase, right? Okay. But the CPI increase is important, in discussing with a few people, they're saying, explain it, but don't promote it at this point. If it doesn't pass this year, we can, run it through next year, but the feeling is that there's no need to, promote it, it's probably gonna go through.
So well the last time.
Yeah.
Very minimal. It's just like people expected it, so I really hope that's.
Read through that language of this one and let me know if, before Friday, we get it to Ginger from the Echo, if you want it.
They challenge somebody to find a better deal.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
If it doesn't pass, what number do we go? Do we go back to the 137.22?
No. Stay where we are.
160.
Yeah, we have one more year to do it again,
Okay.
because this is effective.
Yeah, we would be talking about it next year, but if that were the case, if we're touching, then we'd have everything go out and promote.
Okay.
Right.
Have we ever thought about increasing the new member fee?
We had a conversation.
Fine, I mean, new members is not hurt, man.
I only have 2 more months.
It already goes up by virtue of it's tied to the monthly fee, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the new member fee?
42.
It doesn't seem to stop people from buying out. I mean,
It's like 2.5 times.
Build into the cost of that.
Yeah. It should be, could be considered.
I'll tell you where the new member fee is tough is when I try to sell lots. You're talking about
Not many of those left.
raising the price on lots, and then when you include a single lot and then the new member fee, that step away.
Yeah, but you're selling them, Randy, you're doing a good job. You're selling them, you're selling
I
them.
know.
But the increase has to be significant. New members per year, 50 to 60? Am I guessing the number right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, in the last couple of years have been at that deal.
Okay, so if you had to raise it $100, you'd get 5,000. Yeah. So I'm not saying no, yes, or
I
whatever.
just mean the way that they're selling and all the amenities that the current members have paid for and all the committees, that, the place is nice.
I think when someone's buying a home, I think it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Because they're making that investment. I think when you're buying a lot, you kind of feel the sting a little bit because you're just in a lower
No, I
price.
understand that.
But that might be an interesting question to ask some folks in real estate. I mean, I can understand where they would push back because nobody likes an increase. where it's gonna be a little harder to sell, but I don't see it would make any difference
But
whatsoever.
if I'm correct, I don't think we can do it without a member vote.
Yeah.
Because it's written into the code, you'd have to have a member vote, so we couldn't do it in August because of the timeline.
A couple of years ago, Tim, and I don't know if you were on the Constitution Committee, we were thinking that with the lots, maybe we could cut their new member fee and then tack on it with, if they build on it, then they add it on, make it a recreational type lot. And the board poo-pooed that in a hurry.
Yeah.
The board at that time said absolutely not, and they passed another one that we put through, I can't remember what it was, but the board said, no, they wanted to leave that new member fee where it was, so.
Yeah, I think it's 2.5 times what the annual fee is.
Now it's 2 times the annual fee plus the road assessments.
Okay.
But at
2
the
years.
time, we weren't really talking about, that question never came up,
Yeah,
you know,
the
they were talking
question
about
raised-
moving the member lot, or the club lots. That's really interesting.
I mean, there's some like crazy. And like I said, that the place has improved so much and the current members have already paid for it instead of, raising the monthly assessments.
Well, you don't wanna get away from this CPI thing.
No, I just mean, trying to get some more money. The people that are here now have done all the work. People are moving in now, paying that fee, and, look at the amenities they're getting. The present people have already, paid for it through the fundraisers and all the, volunteer work.
Fix the dam.
Well, it might be worth taking a look at, see how this particular vote goes in August.
Yeah, we can't do anything
vote
about
on it
it.
anyways.
Good point.
I think current members, well, I think they'd be all for it. So, yeah, we're already in here.
Unless somebody's thinking of selling their house,
Well,
those people wouldn't be happy about it.
When they did this first time with the 2 years assessment and everything, that was a big fear of mine too, that selling the house, a big fear that it wouldn't pass. And then it would be a problem down the road. And it's not proven to be. I mean, $4,200 versus $5,000. When you're buying a house, that $800 doesn't matter.
But you're also in a big real estate boom right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
even in Columbus, I played golf with a Columbus Realtor last Friday. He said, if we don't get an offer in 4 days, there's something wrong. And if you think back 3-4 years ago, you had a lot of for sale signs that weren't moving, so. Yeah.
So we didn't have a dam then too, so.
No,
So,
prior to that,
no, go back 5
Before
years.
that, before that, we didn't have a dam, but we had,
So it's cyclical, but it's worth consideration, though.
That's a good point.
Very good. And I would think Jim might carry that back to management. They're the ones trying to balance the budget all the
Well,
time.
and then the other thing too, I thought, now that we're past the dam assessment and everybody likes moto pay as much as they do, to be able to continue that program, it's really hard to steal it out of $200, from members.
On the road assessment.
And again, what the goal there would be to promise that we're not doing just the same old thing, that we're really going to be, adding on to what we've got. And I think that's another thing we need to think about, because I think, this year, last year we took almost all of the money out of the road assessment for motor pay. This year we're taking less, because we're gonna go from where we're at right now by Coosa all the way to the front gate. And so then we'll have finished all the way from the front gate to the lodge. And so, but that comes at a cost. I mean, again, it's the prioritization. We've been chip and sealing for years and years, we chip and sealed every mile of road in the hills. We're picking out the places that need it the best. I think it's an effective program. But if people want to see it on a lot more areas, especially if you want to go on the other side of the lake and places like that, I don't see how you can get there out of $200 a year. And so, and that's another thing I only bring it up because we've had that conversation several times. And I think this year, after we finish the rest of the main road, people are going, you're going to go from the front gate. We'll be yelling at people to slow down again, because it's going to be nice. It's going to be wide. We're going to cover a lot of the issues that we have on that main road, and I think it's going to be good.
Remember the last time we had an increase in the road assessment?
Before my time, I moved.
Was it before your time?
We had it was probably 2010, thereabouts.
Isn't it 160 then?
No, it's
No, we went
150.
from 150, did it go from
Okay,
150 to 175, and then to 200, it went from 150 to 200.
Yeah, because I tried to get it up 100 and it wouldn't go.
That
just
was,
before.
I bet it was before 2010, because that's when I came on the board, and I don't remember
Yeah,
it.
it was before mine.
Well, it was.
And you were on management at that,
Yeah, it was shortly.
no, you
after I
weren't, were
started.
you?
I guess.
Yeah,
You were here in 09.
It could have been.
Yeah, it was shortly after I started.
It's probably time to think about
I mean,
that.
and again, I always think you're gonna be more successful if you've got something to offer people. And that's what, otherwise, it just seems like it's another deal. If you have a plan and show them the plan, I would hope that'd be persuasive.
Okay. Now, moving on to new members, I'd ask Ms. Barker to read any new members we have.
We have, lots sold or in process, 1088 and 89. New members, Paul L. Worcester II, lots 506 and 07. Stephen Klingerman, lots 900, 901. David Friedrich, Lisa Avery, lots 1088 and 89. Matthew and Amy Tonti, lots 1108, 9, and 10.
Valerie's making a motion to approve those members. Anybody second? Second by Linda Lonsiker. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is passed. Is there any other additional business coming before the board tonight?
I just want to make one comment. We had 5 transfers today of lot sales and property sales.
Nice.
They'll be next. they'll be next.
5 more new members coming on.
5 transfers.
Oh, okay.
Should do that new member.
All right, so,
Need to bring it up 2 months ago.
Good call, Dave.
When would be a good time?
It's a little late.
Health issues.
Well, we've got the executive session tonight, so I don't know if you want to do it tonight or not.
Maybe put it on the next meeting. My thought is the amount of fines.
Okay, and those are just rules, so those could be changed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then you might be able to come prepared with a recommendation too.
Mhm.
Good. We'll put it on.
For the next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, that'd be good. Good. All right, so in July, all righty.
Maybe see what people are charging in the local community too. That might be good.
Okay. No additional business, no other additional business? Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Didn't think anybody wanted to do that. Second, by Eric Leff. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned, 9 o'clock, and take about 3 minutes.
That's all,
Do it
folks.
quick.
3 minutes?
Hopefully, we won't be long in the executive session, but who knows?